Pause for a moment and ask yourself, have you ever wondered why you were born in the month you were? Why not earlier? Why not later? Why precisely that moment? Carl Jung once said that the universe speaks to us through symbols, and our birth month is one of the first symbols the soul carries into life. It is not a fixed prophecy, nor a cage that binds fate, but a reminder that from the very moment we arrive, a hidden rhythm is already accompanying us. Think of the birth month as a symbolic mirror. In that mirror, you glimpse the archetypal energies Jung spoke of, ancient images and stories that still live within the collective unconscious. A person born in March might carry the spirit of the phoenix rising again and again from ashes. Someone born in August may walk with the gravity and dignity of an inner king. Yet the point is not to cling to labels. It is to recognize that each month offers a background melody, while you are the musician who shapes the song of your own life. When we see our birth month not as a date on the calendar, but as a profound symbol, our journey takes on new meaning. The month of birth becomes a reminder: life is never random. It is a symbolic map helping us recall the mission the soul carried from the beginning. And when we dare to listen, we begin not only to know who we are, but also what we are here to become. Each month in Jung's view is like a spiritual fingerprint. It does not dictate every step you will take, but it reveals the inner landscape, the energies that come naturally to you, and the challenges you are destined to face. That is why two people born only weeks apart can feel so different, as if they are living within different movements of the same grand symphony. January, for instance, carries the essence of winter stillness, depth, and quiet wisdom. Those born in this month often carry the aura of an old soul, unhurried, deliberate, patiently building foundations like an architect of life. By contrast, February tends to birth rebel souls unafraid to be different, carrying visions the world may not yet be ready to receive. They are the seed planters of renewal, often paying the price of solitude for their courage. This is not superstition. It is exactly how Jung encouraged us to observe the great symbols at work around us. Birth months are one of those symbols, not binding but illuminating. They remind us that each soul enters the world with its own rhythm, and by attuning to that rhythm, we find harmony with ourselves. March opens the field of life, death, and rebirth. Those born in this season often encounter dramatic changes, yet out of these ruptures, they rise like phoenixes. Their gift is healing and inspiration. Not because life was easy, but because they learned to turn suffering into strength. Their hearts know deeply, no spring arrives without winter, and no rebirth comes without passing through darkness. April, on the other hand, bursts with the fire of radiant spring. Those born here are warriors of will, driven by passion and the urge to conquer not others but themselves. They ignite the hidden potential within and inspire those around them. They are flames that remind us life is not meant to be lived halfway, and that courage is the fuel of growth. Jung would say that each month draws us closer to a different archetype within the collective unconscious. But whether it is the phoenix of March or the fire of April, each is simply a doorway. And as we walk through, we discover not only our own identity, but also the piece of the greater story we were meant to complete. The story of humanity itself. By the time May arrives, the energy shifts toward endurance and nourishment. Those born in this month are like patient gardeners. They plant, tend, and protect not only the soil, but also people and ideas. They bring stability, giving fragile things the chance to grow. Yet Jung would remind us that these patient souls must also remember themselves. For if they care only for others, while neglecting their own needs, they risk exhaustion and the loss of their inner light. June is entirely different, like a mirror reflecting the world. People born in this month often carry the gift of connection. They can bridge reason and emotion, logic and intuition. They are like bridges between two shores, helping others see themselves more clearly. Yet because of this, they are easily lost, dissolving in the desire to please everyone. Jung would say their path of growth lies in learning to become a clear mirror, one that reflects without being clouded by the need for external validation. Then comes July, carrying the deep memory of ancestors and family. Those born in this month are sensitive to emotions left unspoken, as if they carry the memory of an entire lineage. They care, they nurture, they absorb the pain of others. But their greatest challenge is to return that same love to themselves, so they are not drowned by emotions that were never truly their own. August arrives with the aura of dignity and inner light. Those born at this time are often seen as natural leaders, not because they seek power, but because they radiate a presence that naturally draws others toward them. Their responsibility is not to dominate, but to inspire and uplift like a lighthouse standing firm at sea. Yet Jung would remind them that true power does not lie in controlling others, but in mastering themselves, transforming inner light into a beacon that guides the whole community. With September, the energy becomes meticulous and orderly. Those born in this month are often described as sacred record keepers, souls who love clarity, who treasure detail, and who seek to bring structure to life's chaos. But behind that careful nature is a heart hungry for meaning, a longing to organize not only papers and plans, but also the fragments of the spirit. Jung would see this as the archetypal work of turning the unconscious into consciousness, bringing order where once there was disorder. And when October comes, the world seems to wear a cloak of balance and beauty. Those born in this month are natural artists, not only in art itself, but in the way they see life. They can perceive beauty, long for justice, and turn conflict into harmony. Yet their lesson is not to dissolve themselves for the sake of false peace. True love, Jung would say, endures only when it is woven with both authenticity and balance. November carries with it a more intense journey, the confrontation with loss, suffering, and symbolic death. Those born in this month often cannot escape great upheavals in life. Yet it is precisely through these trials that they become alchemists of the soul. They learn to turn the suffering into wisdom, loss into strength. Jung would say that November is tied to the archetype of transformation, where one must descend into the deepest shadows in order to discover the true light within. Finally, December closes the circle of the year with a very distinct energy. Those born in this month resemble philosophers, living at the threshold of time, one part oriented toward the past, another reaching into the infinite. They carry both nostalgia and the seeds of the future. Within them lives a sense of eternity, a thread connecting the smallness of human life to the vastness of the cosmos. They are often drawn to the great questions, not only for themselves, but for the whole of humanity. Why do we live? What do we leave behind once we pass through this life? For Jung, each birth month is not merely a point on a calendar, but a sacred symbol. It is a reminder that the soul chose precisely that moment to enter life, carrying with it a rhythm, a music of its own. The task is not to flee from or deny that symbol, but to listen so that it may become a pathway toward wholeness, toward individuation. Many people spend their whole lives searching for meaning without realizing that even their birth month has been whispering part of their story all along. Jung reminds us symbols are not meant to bind us, but to guide us. When we learn to listen, our month of birth becomes a mirror reflecting not only our strengths, but also our wounds and the mission our soul carries. And in that understanding, we cease drifting aimlessly and begin to walk as those who know the rhythm of their own being. If these reflections have touched you, let this journey continue with you. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so that each week we can go deeper into Jung's wisdom, exploring the symbols at work in life and transforming them into guiding lights for inner growth. This will be a space to pause, reflect, and remember that from the very moment of birth, you have carried within you a sacred invitation